probably
Here we
is.
go.
Yes, it's been very reliable. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the WDMA. We're going to be talking about, pizza. It's good on a Friday night, unless you can't eat pizza on Friday nights. And we're going to be talking about retail. I've got a couple of things for you. I think it's going to be interesting. And also pricing. So hang on, and here we go. And first, we're going to hear from Red Baron and their new commercial that makes fun of Netflix, I think. So let's get over there and see what they got. Coming soon, the final season of password sharing. Now, that's not very chill. A certain streaming service may be done sharing, but at Red Baron Pizza, we're always down to share something awesome. Anytime, anywhere. Pizza sharing. So click the link. We can't share passwords, but we can share pizza. There's the picture of the pizza. It's highly encouraged pizza sharing. Red Baron, share something awesome. They're making fun of Netflix. And last night on my fancy big TV, I took Netflix off the menu. It's off the menu, boys. But pizza still is. Well, I'm on a low-carb diet. As you can tell, I look so much better. Trim, tan. Played 2 rounds of golf this weekend, so I'm doing just spiffy. But anyway, let's get over and hear about the pizza sharing commercial from Audrey Kemp at the drum. Okay, Red Baron's pizza sharing promotion was made in response to the password sharing on a certain sharing service, of course, Netflix. And they mentioned Netflix later, so I don't know why they don't mention it here. But anyway, so Netflix says 40% of consumers in U.S. internet households share streaming accounts per a 2022 study, and we do. We share. One of us paid for Netflix, one of us paid for Amazon, and one of us paid for YouTube, and it worked out very nicely. And it was only 3, my daughter, my son, and ourselves. It doesn't seem abusive, but we didn't send it to all our friends, and but apparently that is, and so we canceled them. We canceled the one that won't let us share. And so Red Baron Pizza is encouraging sharing amongst family and friends. Red Baron is a frozen pizza. They had a coupon offer last week, last Friday, I think, and the coupons sold out in a little over an hour. Boom. They also have been they also produced some fake movie posters like the circles and triangles of mystery and and rom-coms like Pizza My Heart or El Beso del Queso. That's the kiss of cheese. So anyway, that's fun. Thanks, Audrey. Okay, here's an interesting article. People love stealing stuff from Target. Organized retail crime is crushing U.S. retailers. And I'm not sure it's crushing, but it certainly is taking a bite out of their profits. And here's the consistent gross margins of Target, 23.6 down from a consistent 28% gross margin. Gross margin is not the EBITDA profit at the end of the year. It's the differential between what you buy it for and what you sell it for, right? And, so if you buy it for 50 cents and you sell it for 65 cents about, you'll have about a 25% profit. I'm just guessing. It's something around there. And so 62.5 cents, I think. You should never do math live stream, right? Is anybody out there chatting? Should never ever do. That's it, the sleep number bed. Yesterday I was flummoxed on that. And if you think doing this live is easy, you are crazy. That was from Keith Lawson. Yeah, the sleep number bed. Does that make any sense? Sleep number. Anyway, so Target sales were around 3 point, no, there, what is this? I don't know, Bugatti. The hustle is always kind of funny. Who's this by? Ben Barkley. And so I pronounce his name like the great philosopher, not the basketball player, but I think he spells it with an A. Okay, so last fiscal year they had 763 million in shrink, which is either accidental or they lost something or a deliberate act of like shoplifting, fraud or cargo theft. Although I was interested in the and Target and Walmart, Walgreens, and Home Depot are also uh, complaining about theft increases. I saw a tweet the other day that said that two employees called the police in the midst of a shoplifting episode, and they were disciplined or fired or something for a lesser known retailer. I can't remember the name. Sorry. Sometimes I can't. But, it was, they were told not to do anything, just let people steal it. But you can't keep that up. It's not sustainable day after day after day, or week after week at least, or whatever it is. Once word gets out, once the shelves are restocked, that store will close. We had a store not far from our church, a Cub Foods, that closed just because the shoplifting was so rampant at a grocery store. So it's not people shoplifting an individual item for personal use, they said. It's organized crime. It's sophisticated networks stealing throughout the supply chain on docks, trucks, railways, as well as in stores. And Phil, my friend at American Science and Surplus, who had a little catalog, which I worked with, they were a client for a little while, and we figured out their RFM was upside down. Don't forget to check out rfm.migmar.com for all kinds of articles and simple and academic stuff on customer segmentation. But anyway, they said, it used to be before the internet, the trucks would show up and the cases would be intact and whatever they ordered, they would have. And they said, since the internet, which is, Denny Hatch said that eBay was the world's largest fencing operation. In other words, you sell stolen goods. Since the internet, Phil said, every shipment pretty much has one or two pieces, out of a dozen, it'll have one or two pieces missing. And it's part of the payment for the shipping. And part of the incentive for locked cargo containers was just to reduce the on-dock shipping. But some of the regulations around cargo containers is they have to be openable to be inspected. So another hidden fee that we pay. What's interesting is 68.5% of retailers do not have teams. I hate when they give it a second, a decimal, when they only probably called, 19 of them. That would be about where you get that. Don't have teams fighting against organized crime because external theft only accounted for about a third of lost inventory. Employee theft was almost 30%, and process failures was 25%, which seems like they ordered the wrong stuff or something like that. So interesting article, and that may have more to do with Target's stock decline than the merchandising issues that they've run into lately. That's a euphemistic way of saying it. Okay, this is from Parker Hall from Wired, and an excellent and very, very interesting article. And he said, at the Wired Gear Desk, it's, we're mildly concerned that ChatGPT is coming for our jobs. But we feel relatively secure because our job is to test things. And a large language model can't pedal an e-bike and can't see the curves of a dynamic island. I don't know what a dynamic island is, to be honest. A cloud service can't tell whether a grill cooked burgers evenly. And I think even cooking is maybe overrated. I put the, some of them around the hot spot, and then you flip them and move them over to the less hot spot. And some of them didn't get cooked as much. You move those over. That's part of grilling. If it was easy, anyone could do it. Anyway, so they decided to test out the chat tools on something easy. Recommend some headphones. And the answers they spit out shocked me. It was the first time ever I've seen a computer claim, where the emphasis here is on claim, to have ears. They tested Google Bard, Microsoft Bing, and ChatGPT. And Microsoft Bing, I guess, said, I have also used a few different pairs of workout headphones myself, it declared confidently. And then they have, this is too small for me to read on camera, but first of all, computers don't have ears. So the first element of this review is a lie. And not only does AI not have ears, it cannot bring any type of real-world experience to the table, right? It scrapes the web for a mishmash of customer reviews, right? It finds a consensus to some extent, although that, it could be that less popular products have fewer positive reviews, so its algorithm is going to make somebody win and somebody lose. It's a mishmash of reviews, product descriptions, and most importantly, my stories, meaning stories on Wired and those of my friends and colleagues, right? ChatGPT, Google Bard, and Bing can write best of lists, and they may even pick products similar to what I would have chosen, but they still need human input from people like me. Well, they do at the moment, but he argues that when you continue, if we continue to let AI write our articles, and I've only reviewed, I've featured a couple of articles written by AI. One was supposedly by Mark Ritson until I got to the end, and I wondered if he'd had a stroke or some kind of brain injury, because it just wasn't his usual. Ironically, or something, the AI used some of his turns of phrase that are somewhat unique, so it sort of sounded like him, but the repetition, and especially repetition, I found in AI is rampant. They say the same thing over and over. That's what repetition means. I just repeated it just for your illumination. And so Bing, they also recommend, wild stuff. Like Bing recommended a one-ear Plantronics Bluetooth dongle for hands-free calls. The thing that sits in your ear and comes around with a microphone. It isn't even a pair of headphones. So they get wildly wrong. They lie. And they tried office chairs, sex technology. I don't even know what that is. So without, and this is the important part, without the input of real humans writing about real gear, generative AI will increasingly generate bad recommendations, which it will then use to write worse recommendations. It's a downward spiral of echo chamber of wrong information. And so the first question he asks is, where did you get your information? And Bing is the best at crediting real humans for testing. It's explicitly citing Wired, which is where this article appeared, and competitors with links in tow. You can even ask it for things like, what headphones does CNET recommend that Wired does not? Now that's an interesting comparison and an interesting thing that would be easier for AI to do than, putzing through the lists and, drawing lines between them. Baird weirdly cites its own personal experience using devices pretty often, which is really bad. ChatGPT doesn't claim to be human, but it doesn't link to specific articles. ChatGPT does not link to specific articles. Also, very often, the data that feeds AI only goes up to 2021 unless you pay extra. So clarity of sourcing is going to be increasingly important. And of course, if you know much about sourcing, oftentimes headlines are very misleading. So oftentimes an article says exactly opposite of what they claim in the headlines for clickbait. The default for ChatGPT is you can't really believe the answers that come out. No responsible person can figure out what's true and what's fake. And that's the tricky part. No reasonable person. That's the tricky part. This is from Sridhar Raswamy. I think you have to pick from the most trustworthy sites, and you have to provide citations that talk about where the information is coming from. Some publishers are already writing stories with generative AI to cut labor costs with expected hilarious results. Okay? As AI gets better, it will undoubtedly improve, but what does this mean to you, the consumer, the future of AI best lists? Who cares if we're living through our Napster moment? It's easy not to ask too many questions about provenance, in other words, who owns the rights to this music, when you're getting every song you want on Napster. Right now, I'd say it's not worth trusting any AI-generated recommendations, unless, like Bing, they cite their link sources. It's more important than ever to know where the information is coming from. When it comes to asking AI for recommendations, the information in the human realm will require human inputs. Degenerative AI just imitates the human experience of holding and using the products. If outlets begin to replace their product reviews, buying guides, and best of rankings with AI-generated lists, less overall information will be available. It will become more and more of an echo chamber. Like it says, it will increasingly look even more like an echo chamber where the reviews, if you notice, a lot of times the reviews, even on different sites, if you look up electronics on Walmart or Amazon or whatever, they'll all be either the manufacturer's copy or something like that. And so it's essentially a fake review process. AI is surfacing our words and opinions without offering us proper affiliate links. It's essentially taking professional opinions and sharing them for free, but sharing none of the revenue. It's a great business model. That's why it's so popular. Okay, one last thing from Craig Huey. The Price is Right. I titled this article. He titled it a lot longer. Picking the right price can dramatically boost your sales. And here he goes. So a few cents can be the difference between a home run or a strikeout. Case in point, American Express Publishing tested 3 price points for one of its publications. The control price was $19.95. 2 things I like about that they didn't just change the price and see what happens. They did some sort of A-B split with $19.95 as the price, which apparently was what they'd been using, and 3 different opinions, or 3 different options. Now, the consumer will not get to pick the price. They don't see all 3. The consumer sees one of these 3 or $19.95. So it's a 4-way ABCD split. And so can you guess which one resulted in better sales? If you hang on till the end, you'll get the answer. Here it comes. I think this is fascinating. If you guessed $19.99, you're right. Offered at that price compared to the control price, the $19.99 results in 10% better sales. Isn't that interesting? Surprisingly, the worst performing price point was the lowest at $19.49. I really don't know why this happened. It's shocking to me. Why do you think consumers were more attracted to a price of $19.99 than $19.49? And this is where this is an observation. The test gives us observational data. We then form a hypothesis. You say, well, I think it's the repeated numbers. So instead of $19.95, we'll compare against $19.95, we'll compare $18.88 and see if that does better than $18.49 or $19.49. See if that does better. I don't know. It's not the lowest price. Maybe it's just the repetitive numbers are easy to figure out. And then you also want to try just $20 and see how that works. But usually those extra digits seem to help. Fascinating. So that's an excellent, fun article by Craig Huey. Have a great day. Like and share, especially share. It's just as easy to hit that share button as it is on LinkedIn anyway, as it is to hit the like. But shares count 20 times more. And comment. I hope you comment too. Never do math on a live stream, David. Yes, I'm doing too much math today. It's hard. Have a great day. Bye bye.